Okay, it's chapter 5. You have friends until you don't. So you think you know someone until you realize you don't really know them at all. I've heard divorced people say that about an ex-spouse too many times. In this country, we have a lot of divorced people. These were once married people who thought they had their so-called life partner figured out. Some of them spent a few months or years dating, like I did, and multiple years living together, like I did. These couples then drifted apart slowly. In some cases, the changes were very sudden, causing lots of turmoil in their relationships. It happened to me. Before I found Jessica, that's my wife now, I had another wife. I met her in college, my actual first year as a grad student at UC Santa Barbara. We dated about a year and a half. Then we moved in together in San Jose when we both moved from UC Santa Barbara's campus where we were staying to San Jose. And then we got married. Okay, that's usually how it goes for people that go to college. They find a partner there at college, and then they decide they're a great couple, and they decide to get married. Okay, a lot of people do that because, oh, look, it's another educated person. Another person with a degree. Hey, that's better than me finding someone, who doesn't have a degree, right? So a lot of people hook up in college and then they get married. So my marriage with this woman, who I will not name, only lasted about 3 years. The last year of our marriage was awful. Both she and I were miserable. We argued constantly and spent very little time enjoying each other's company. Even with couples therapy, which we went to, we couldn't make our marriage work. Fortunately, we were able to get a quick and friendly divorce. We weren't like some couples who are so bitter about it and so angry at each other, they hire a lawyer. And then they go after each other's assets or whatever they got together. And then they start to fight about who gets everything from the house to the cat to the dog to the favorite whatever, boat or, toys they have. They fight over it all. What's your question? Yes.
Is it like if you have a lot of money, it doesn't matter in every state, the one who gets all the money?
No. California happens to be a 50-50 state, so whatever you accumulate together as a couple belongs to the both of you. And there, I don't know if it's an at-fault state. Like some states, somebody gets to be at fault for maybe the husband cheated. I don't know if it's like in Texas or somewhere else. So they'll go to court and the judge decides who's at fault. And whoever is at fault doesn't get the things that people bought together. Like even the wedding ring. The woman's wedding ring can stay with the woman or she has to forcibly give it back in some states. Here in California, it's like I forgot what it's called, but it's a no at fault or something like that. And everybody here, community property, whatever you get with your partner once you're married is 50-50 split, okay? And then the judge has to decide how you end up getting rid of that stuff so that you can part and go along your ways. Like you might have to sell the house you both live in, and the proceeds split 50-50. Of course, children are different. You have to have custody battles and stuff like that. And then of course other property is divided based on maybe who had it before. It's stuff like that. So it gets pretty nasty. Okay, if you're not on a good place with your soon-to-be former spouse. Luckily, I was in a very good spot with my soon-to-be former spouse, and we had an amicable divorce. That means friendly. We just went to the courthouse. We filed the paperwork. $300 later. Waited for the court to issue their decree, their order to split us apart. Something called irreconcilable differences, which means we tried to make up, but it didn't work, and now we're split. So that was good. So other than the death of a loved one, though, divorces, listen to this, think twice about getting married, and then getting divorced, think double, triple, quadruple, because divorces are bad, okay? So I was sick to my stomach prior to my divorce being final. It was hard to shake off the fact that I had failed big time. I had failed big time at something. Guys, I was successful in everything up until that point. I had gone to college as an immigrant student, right? I had made it. I had got my degree in biology, a bachelor's of science degree from the prestigious UC Santa Barbara. I had killed it there, gotten good grades. I'd gone to UC Santa Barbara's teacher's education program and I nailed it. I got my master's degree in a year. I was doing so well for myself. Then I got married, and this was like my first big epic fail. The divorce 3 years later after I got married. See, the people in my life then tried to console me. They tried to make me feel better, right? But by making me have to explain to them what I thought happened, my friends and family only made things worse. I hate it when they ask me about it. You see, ultimately, it doesn't matter what you think about the divorce or what I thought about the divorce. Because you see, my ex-wife, she had her own version of what happened. She would, if she were asked what happened, she'd give a totally different story. Because that's how people are. They have their own versions of the truth, right? You might be arguing with someone and they might say something different than you. You're like, what? So that's what happened with us. So you have probably experienced a dispute in your life where one person thought you were at fault and you thought the opposite. And I just said that. A dispute involves money or property, right? It can become a legal matter settled in a court by a judge. Let me tell you right now that not having to go to court over a dispute, because disputes are very stressful, it's best to resolve your conflicts with others outside of the legal system. So don't go to court, because you'll pay a lot in time and in fees to your lawyers, and especially with divorces. In the case of my first marriage, the only thing that mattered was that the match I thought would be for life, because everybody goes into thinking into your marriage, oh, this is for life. And you should think that way. That is the right way to think. Otherwise, why are you getting hitched to this person, right? You shouldn't be getting hitched to a person if you don't plan on it being for life. Okay, it's a very serious decision, guys. Getting married, very serious. Okay, it's not something you just do because it's part of a ritual that when you get to be a certain time in your adulthood that you need to be married, or because your parents are telling you you're too old now, or because you need to have a kid now, so get married. Don't let all that stuff sway you. Make the decision based on what you think is right, okay, with that person. Now, I've shared about my life to help you make sense of more things that I'm about to tell you next. And this is about the fact that your friends at school, because right now you're at school and you're only in middle school, you're not even thinking about marriage yet, and you shouldn't. They're not really your friends, okay? So who are your friends? Are they the kids you hang out with at school? Those are not your friends. I'm sorry to tell you. They're called acquaintances. We would call them, adults will call the people you hang out with here at school, acquaintances. Okay, after high school, now listen, after high school, 4 more years from now for you guys, if you're still spending time with the people you hung out with at school, then after that point, you can call them your friends. In the meanwhile, everyone who's not your boyfriend or girlfriend is simply an acquaintance of yours, okay? And some of them have way too much power over you. You listening to this? Some of your friends, they're working your mind too much, okay? They're manipulating you too much. So you give up too much control of your mind to these groups, which we know as groupthink, and individuals, costing you valuable time to work on your personal growth. Learning on your own or from other further academically along acquaintances who you should be hanging out with, because you're at a public school. You're not at a private school where everybody, the majority of those kids, come from affluent black backgrounds, probably have a lot more in terms of knowledge about finances because their parents teach them that stuff. Yours might not know that stuff. So you're at a public school. So you need to be finding the people that are success-minded amongst the crowd who are not, because there's a huge crowd that isn't. Now, as an assistant principal, I had way too many disciplinary cases to deal with. For example, involving theft. Oh my goodness, if I had every single week somebody's iPod, this is way back when, iPod got stolen. Then someone's Apple, what is it? No, that's way before the watch. The iPad got stolen. And then the phones, when they first started coming out, the phones were being jacked at the high school level. Thievery, sadly, is an epidemic at public schools. The victim would come to the office and ask for my help in tracking down their expensive cell phone. And I'd ask them, what happened? And then they'd say, oh, I let my friend borrow the phone and now it's gone. What do you mean it's gone? I'd follow up. Well, they'd say naively, he says he let someone else hold it and now no one knows who has it. So that friend let someone else hold it. Yeah, right. Okay, and now it's gone, right? Some friend you got there. Now in schools, friends steal from friends all the time. Okay, but they do more than that. They also turn on each other. Girls have besties in high school one day, and another day the bestie becomes an enemy. Why? Usually it's because of a boy. All the times I had to deal with this conflict between girls at high schools, public schools, is usually because of a boy. And instead of being angry with the boy for playing both of them, the besties get furiously upset at each other, and that is wrong, okay? If I had a nickel for every time I had to mediate a conflict because of a boy between two former besties, I'd be a rich man, okay? This is 10 years of this at a high school level. Young ladies, let me tell you something. No boy is worth you losing education time, okay? I'm not saying your friend, because that sometimes has to happen. Sometimes you have to lose your friend. But your education time, you don't get much of that. You only get so many hours, and then you have to leave at 18 after you graduate from high school. That's so many hours, that's it, okay, of education in your entire life. And after that, you have to pay for it. Beyond high school, any hours of education you want, they're going to cost you. Right now, it's free, okay? And it gets worse. There is a code amongst all of you, I know this code, to not snitch, right? Don't snitch on each other. Well, let me tell you something. It's a stupid code. Why? Apart from being wrong and unethical sometimes, in some cases, especially involving weapons, serious weapons that could hurt kids, that keeps information that could help solve crimes and injustices, hardly anyone sticks to the snitch code. How do I know? I had those kids in my office, okay? When I put the pressure on them, I'll tell them, how do I do that? I got this evidence. Look at this evidence. I know that you did this, okay? I tell them everything I got. Before I even meet with the kid, and if you get pulled into the assistant principal's office, let me tell you something right now. The assistant principal has already done a lot of work behind your back. They already went and talked to other kids. They already went and talked to the teacher. They already know pretty much what happened. You think you're just showing up for the first time and he's just going to ask you, or she's just going to ask you a question and you just answer it and you're scot-free. No, that's not how it works. They've already done an investigation on you. So when you sit on that chair, you start to feel the pressure. The room starts to clamp down on you. It starts to feel hot because the assistant principals know how to put the pressure on you. So you tell them exactly what has happened, but in your own voice. Okay? So when the stakes are high, the person being questioned can be severely punished. And everyone eventually folds. And if you don't believe me in schools, try watching one of those CSI shows, or one of those investigation shows, or one of those Netflix documentaries. They crack under pressure. They get the evidence, they put the person in the interrogation room, and the police, once they have enough evidence, they pretty much know what happens. Okay, and it's up to you at that point. You say the magic words, nothing. And then you say lawyer. Nothing. Say nothing. If you're there by yourself, you say nothing. You say lawyer. Every time they ask you a question, lawyer. Every time they ask you another question, lawyer. Say nothing. Because you have the right to remain silent. Okay? Now, you've seen enough mobster movies though, and you know that crime, eventually people get caught. Almost every single time. Okay? Are there some people running out there that got away with stuff? Of course. But many of them get caught. And so this whole snitching thing is done because you know what happens? If there's 2 or 3 of you, you were involved in something, they start to point the fingers at the other person. Why? They want less time. If they know they got caught, Johnny's going to tell on so-and-so because maybe Johnny gets a deal with the police or maybe with whoever. If they're the first ones to snitch, that's how it works. If you're the first one to snitch, maybe you get less time because now you become a witness for the lawyers who are what are they called? Prosecution, the prosecuting team. Now you become their star witness. That means you get less time, but you just dimed off your friend. That happens all the time on the streets, guys, all the time. So this whole snitch code is foolish. Now, if you're in prison, don't snitch because you're already in prison. Definitely don't snitch in prison. You'll get killed there, right? So there's definitely not a place you want to snitch. But everywhere else, let me tell you, nobody follows that code. Nobody ultimately follows it. Now, where was I? So, if a dispute involves, okay, I already talked about that. In the case of my first marriage, oh no, I already talked about that. Okay, and so that's the snitch code. Now, let me tell you something. Get over your friends at school. They're not your friends. They're your acquaintances. And it's nice if they're nice to you and you hang out with them. They're good acquaintances right now. If you manage to keep them through the 4 years of high school, they're even better acquaintances. Once you get to become an adult and they're still hanging out with you and talking to you, now they're your friends. Okay? But right now, don't feel like you have to stick around with the people you're hanging around at school. You don't. You can cut them from your list. Now I have a strategy for that. It's called the cut list. Okay? This is an exercise you don't do here, you do at home. What you do is you get a piece of paper, you fold it in half, like so, and on one side of the column, you're going to write, make the cut. These are the friends that are going to make the cut for right now for your time as an adolescent / teen. On the other column, you put don't make the cut. So make the cut, don't make the cut. Then you start thinking of all the people you hang out with at school. And you really start thinking hard about them and like, should you be kicking it with them or not? Are they improving your lot in life? Are they improving your ability to come up? Are they improving your chances of becoming smart? Are they improving your chances of becoming successful? If the answer is no, then they're on the cut list. Why are you even with them? You're wasting your time. You only have 4 more years. You're at a public school. Every hour counts. Okay? And if they make the cut, good. Those are the ones you want to stick around with. Hopefully they go to the same high school you do. And you still kick it with them. And you may discover that you're going to have a whole lot less friends once you're done with this exercise. Because what did I just say? They weren't truly your friends. They're truly your acquaintances. Okay? So that's what I want you to do when you get home today. Think of all the people you kick it with. Do they make the cut or do they not make the cut? And then think hard about what you want to start doing for the rest of your 4 years and semester. Because it's almost the end of the semester. We have till January and we're done with half of your 8th grade, half of your 7th grade year. All right. Thank you.